special factors like bad weather and the terrible wildfires and so on. And so we had one of the worst Januaries that I can remember. But then we ended up, as you said, with all of this positive momentum in the quarter. And if you look at it as a story of 3 months, then what you see is that beginning in February, then everything started to take off. And
okay, we have receipts, Kevin Hassett and state regime media known as Fox. Like, we know that about a month ago, when you were on Fox, you gave a guarantee that GDP growth is going to be 2 to 2.5% in the first quarter at least. That's what you said. You guaranteed it. Here, play this clip.
I'll give you an expectation that GDP growth is going to be 2.5% in the first quarter at least. But in terms of what the consumer confidence numbers say, again, so for example, the Michigan survey was really, really not that good, but there are a lot of Michigan people doing the survey that I don't necessarily think were doing anything other than making a partisan survey.
See, they can say anything. I guess one of the luxuries, if you want to call it that, about being a horrible human being and a liar is that you could just say anything. And then when you're wrong, you just pretend you didn't say it. Like you could just literally make up anything and just be like, yeah, I'm 7'2". I'm 7'2". Of course I'm 7'2". How dare you question me? You're fake news. I mean, that's like literally what they do. And then you have gaslighter in chief, J.D. Vance right here saying, yeah, this is all Joe Biden's economy. Yeah, the reason the economy is bad right now, Joe Biden. Here, play this clip.
President thinks that we have to make more of our own stuff.
The economy shrank. First time in 3 years. People are pointing to the tariff policy. There are people looking at their 401ks that are worried. What do you tell them? Is this going to work?
So the first thing is, when you talk about the economy, this is Joe Biden's economy, and we inherited $2 trillion of debt, the highest peacetime deficits in American history, a $1.2 trillion trade deficit, which fundamentally means we're not making enough of our own stuff. And the president came in and he said, this is not always going to be easy. It would have been very easy for Donald Trump to do what administrations past have done, which is borrow a lot of money and continue fueling the national debt. He said, no, we need a reset. We need American workers to have better jobs. We need to protect the jobs that they have right now. And we need to be more self-reliant as an economy, which, by the way, will drive down those skyrocketing levels of debt that we've seen. That is what he promised he was going to do. And he came in and we've started that process. Now,
Joe Biden's economy, that the Wall Street Journal, owned by Rupert Murdoch, called the envy of the world, that was referred to as a Goldilocks economy because it was just right. Inflation was going down to 2%. The Fed was going to cut interest rates even more because the economy had a soft landing after Donald Trump added $1 trillion to our debt during his first term. Job growth was great. 16.2 million jobs created, unemployment at record lows, 40,000 infrastructure projects across the country. America was producing the most energy anywhere in the world. Things were good, but yeah, go blame that on Biden. These people are sociopaths. If you have a sociopath in your life or knew a sociopath in your life, this conduct is perfectly consistent with like a sociopath serial killer. Like that's how they act. Then you have Kayleigh McEnany saying, oh, it wasn't Donald Trump didn't have a lot of debt in his first term. Oh, that wasn't true. Here, watch this.
So one of my favorite words is facts. In fact, if you go into my office, I have a big sign that says facts. It was my moniker at the podium. Yeah, they made shirts with facts and Kayleigh's face on it. Anyway, AP fact check. Trump, here's the claim. Trump ran up the debt by more than any president in American history. AP, not a friend of the administration. We can all agree on that. Remember Caroline got them out of the press room, at least in the events that are covered in the Oval Office. AP's assessment, no friend of Trump. That's incorrect. The debt incurred during the Trump era was very high, but in terms of raw dollars, the total debt rose more under former President Obama, with Trump in second place, which is why you didn't mention Obama.
And plus, we had COVID.
State regime media at its most pathetic form. Then they bring on Sean Duffy, whose wife also works at Fox. All of them have like husbands and wives who work at Fox. It's like a little family clique, little family cult clique that they got there. Sean Duffy, transportation secretary, he goes, he blames the issues at the Department of Transportation on retiring controllers somehow because of Biden, and not that DOJ is literally getting rid of everybody. They're all the same. They're all Trumpy. Play this clip.
We also have another problem. We still have retiring controllers. So if we can keep those experienced controllers actually on the job for a longer period of time, that's the differential that's going to help us get to a place where we're fully staffed. Again, keep controllers who are trained, bring in more new controllers, and we'll then get to a place where we have enough controllers to adequately navigate our airspace.
I was surprised to see that the mandatory retirement age is 56. I mean, 56 is the new 30 as far as I'm concerned, but would you like to see that raised higher?
So I can actually, as the secretary, waive that for individuals if they do a physical, but that's not the problem. The controllers can retire after 25 years of service. So the average age of retirement is at about 53 years old. And so what we have to do is say, hey, listen, if you're 52, 53, you've done your 25 years, let's give you a bonus. We'll pay you up front 20% of your salary, stick around for another year or two. And again, keeps more air traffic controllers helping with the staffing shortages.
And by the way, this Scott Bessent guy, this Treasury Secretary guy, I probably despise him the most because he knows that he's lying and he just goes there with this arrogance and he does that thing, with his chin. And it's not the way he looks like he does it. He goes, well, let me tell you what's going to really happen here. Okay. Listen up, you stupid people. Let me explain. We all know where this is going. Things are going to be great. Here's what he says over here. She goes, can you come up with more clarity on tariffs? Why would I come up with more clarity? Here, play this clip.
Will you be able to come up with some more clarity in terms of what tariffs are going to look like in the coming 3 to 6 months so that business has that confidence and clarity it needs to make the investments that they're expecting? One Wall Street source the other day said to me, we're talking about a freeze in the capital markets. People don't have clarity, so they're not investing the way they'd like to.
Well, Maria, as a recovering Wall Street person, I can tell you Wall Street people like instant gratification. President Trump's agenda is an agenda for the next 1, 2, 3 decades in the U.S. of bringing back manufacturing.
And then in sociopath, malignant narcissist form, then Scott Bessent goes, we're sending a message to China. You need to really chill, China. You need to really de-escalate. You need to do it. You put the 145% tariffs on. Like, y'all are making China actually look it's so wild for me to say this as an American. Like, y'all are making China seem like the rational, normal actor in this. Here, play this clip.
There's a very good chance that the U.S. makes a deal with China. Do you see that happening within a couple of weeks, a couple of months? What's your timing, Mr. Secretary?
Well, again, Maria, as I said, the Chinese need to de-escalate these high tariffs because there is the equivalent of an embargo, and the Chinese business model is built on selling cheap goods to the U.S. They sell us about 5 times more than we sell them. So, their factories are closing down as we speak. We're going into the holiday season. Orders are placed for that now. So if those orders aren't placed, it could be devastating for the Chinese.
And as Aaron Rupert says, yep, Fox is not beating the state regime media allegations with this right here. Here, play this clip.
Listen, Steve, this is not going to be a problem. Before you go, we have a special message from somebody. Well, somebody special. In fact, we might as well just hit play.
Hi, Steve. It's your all-time favorite president, and I just want to congratulate you on your new and probably enhanced role. I just think you're a fantastic guy. You've always treated me fairly, sometimes a little more fairly than other times, but that's okay. You've been really stellar at what you do and at your craft, and you're going to continue. And it's really been an honor to have spent so much time with you and watching you and the whole group in the morning. It's the #1 show in the business, and it's going to stay that way for a long time to come, and you were a big part of it. So thank you for all of your service, because truly it was service. You've worked so hard, and now you're going to have another different dimension at Fox, and who knows, maybe it's going to be even bigger and better.